in which our short film challenges conventions is to give the issue of racism sympathy. This has been done by positioning the audience to feel sympathy towards the protagonist, which subverts the convention which is seen in This Is England, where the narrative is used to show the unsympathetic nature of the character. When brainstorming ideas for what topic we should use to be in our short film, we went through many different ideas, including bullying, drug abuse, family struggles, and poverty. Although in the end we found that racism was an issue that had not really been used in too much, that it was predictable, but there was enough awareness about it that the audience would be able to understand the narrative and that we would not have to use racism so blatantly to get our message across. From following the convention and giving the narrative sympathy, we felt that it would make the audience have a deeper emotion of sadness when things go wrong for the protagonist, rather than them feeling that he deserved what he got. From the audience having a stronger emotion, we felt that it would be able to give them more satisfaction out of watching over a day, and also that it would have a longer lasting thought in their minds. From using an enigmatic narrative is one convention that we chose to follow when scripting our film. We chose to do this because it would not only add to the element of mystery of the storyline and of the character, but also that it is because a well-known convention, and we thought if used correctly it could make the storyline much more interesting. When looking at a real media text, this was a convention used in On Time. When watching this short film, it kept us much more engaged with the story, and that it also made us much more concerned about what was going to happen in the ending. From this, I felt that it made the film much more pleasant to watch, which is why we chose to follow. Narrative is one convention that we chose to follow in scripting our film. We chose to do this because it would not only add to the element of mystery of the storyline and of the character, but also that because it is a well-known convention, and we thought if used correctly, then it could make the storyline much more interesting. When looking at a real media text, this was a convention used in On Time. When watching this short film, it kept us much more engaged with the story, and that it also made us much more concerned about what was going to happen in the ending. From this, I felt it made the film much more pleasant to watch, which is why we chose to follow the convention while scripting, because I felt that it would keep the audience more intrigued as to what would happen, and therefore make them want to watch the end of the film. From watching My Name is Lisa, it was able to help us to consider how we could deal with and try and portray real-life conventions without it looking fake and unrealistic. From using this, we were able to develop our media product and also use this as a convention. An example of the way My Name is Lisa helped us to develop our film was because we could see how the use of a skilled cast added a lot more to the overall storyline, and it also made the film much more believable and convincing, which would be able to entertain the audience a lot more. From using a very capable cast, they were not only professional when filming, which made the filming process a lot more easier, but they would also be a lot more convincing and really be able to engage the audience as they were able to use their acting skills to perform to a high standard. A convention that we used whilst developing our film was not to subvert conventions. We found from using this convention and not subverting them, it would help the audience to understand what genre the short film is in, and also we felt that we did not want to confuse the audience more than was necessary. One real media text that did not subvert conventions was This Is England. We found that it did not subvert many conventions, which made it a lot more entertaining because the story had a very interesting narrative already and did not need to subvert the conventions to be able to get the plot across. This is a convention of not subverting conventions that we chose to use because we did not want to overcomplicate the narrative. Another convention which we decided to follow is only having a running time of the film to be 5 minutes. In the definition, a short film, it can be up to 5 minutes, up to 20 minutes. From following the convention of only having our film running for 5 minutes, it would also help the audience to understand that it was a short film, and from this they were able to draw on their own schema of a short film, then set themselves their own expectations. There are many short films which use the convention of only being 5 minutes long, for example, Faded Reality. From being within a 5-minute barrier, it meant that we did not have enough time to go into the background of any of the characters apart from Alex's, but even this was not detailed. From following the convention of it only being 5 minutes, it did limit the amount of content we could use, but it was also a really defining factor for it being a short film. Having a limited cast is also another convention of a short film. This is seen in short This is seen in the short film On Time. We decided to follow this convention for a few reasons. First of all is because in terms of filming the film, it would be a lot easier if we had less cast members, because then it would give us more opportunity to film on separate days. Another reason why we chose to have a small cast is because in short film it would be harder narratively to try and explain the characters and what their position is within the narrative within 5 minutes. Another convention which we chose to follow was not to have complete resolution within the narrative. When scripting, we chose to do this because we felt it would make the audience more curious and therefore entertained if there was not complete resolution, because then it would leave them guessing about what might happen and then leaving a lasting thought within their mind. A real media text that also followed this convention was Eden Lake. I found that watching Eden Lake really helped us to develop this convention of not having resolution. One way is because it enabled me to feel what our audience would feel like, and also what we needed to convey this to our audience. Whilst watching Kidulthood, it helped me to understand the convention of what narrative structure should contain. For example, a beginning, middle and end. In narrative structure, there will be equilibrium, a disequilibrium and a resolution, and then an equilibrium. Though we slightly subverted this convention by not having the film ending in equilibrium, we chose to do this because we thought it would subvert the convention but also make it more entertaining for the audience.